original winery that was here. This, space inside these four walls. This is the footprint of the old building. And as you know, when Ridge bought it in '91, we still used it for a number of years, and I had the opportunity to use it for a couple of years. And then we broke ground on building this winery in '99, and basically. What you see, which is kind of interesting, is that we updated everything. We got great materials, great equipment to work with. We didn't really expand it out that much because actually Paul was very concerned about not losing any of the old bones. He was going to build something that would sprawl out, and so we really, even though we built a new facility, we didn't really make it all that much bigger in a way, but tried to make it a little more, efficient using space. So this obviously is the fermentation area where we bring in all the grapes, and Lytton Springs is the winery. It's in the middle of Lytton Springs, literally, and it's also that was the primary purpose for making the wineries, to bring up, get a facility together that is, in par with the importance that Lytton has for us. And so we're strictly Zinfandel here. Zinfandel and, of course, allies that come in the mixed vineyards.
Not even Petit Syrah or
well, anything? I was going to say, Zinfandel and the Petit and Carignan, that's sort of part of that group. But, we don't make, what little Chardonnay we make, of course, is down in the Santa Cruz Mountains, Cabernet Merlot, all that. So this is strictly Lytton Springs. We make some of the other single vineyard wines like the Ponzo and York Creek, and a handful of ATPs, that sort of thing.
Sure.
So that's what we, and then with the Three Valleys, of course, is one that we try to, generally ends up being made here, but since it's the one wine we make which isn't a single vineyard, so we're drawing it obviously down in Montebello. They've got some Three Valleys components. We've got some Three Valleys components. We usually end up sharing that. Maybe it's made here, bottled there, or that one kind of
interesting
shifts around.
Yeah.
That's the wild card. Otherwise, we know exactly where everything's going.
Now, this place has a rather unique green factor to it, correct?
Oh yeah, it really does. And in '99, it was when we looked at what kind of a building are we going to erect here. We knew we were looking at something that was going to be environmentally friendly. That's think about it. It's a little silly for a winery, I think, not to choose something environmentally friendly, given that it's the environment that, in the end, pays our paycheck.
Absolutely.
That's my view.
Sure.
So we looked at a couple of things. We looked at the first thing we were really after was how can we build something where we're going to, the carbon footprint, and of course in a winery, temperature control is paramount, and therefore air conditioning is a big, is the big factor, really, one of the biggest factors, certainly. So we considered, excavating down, making caves to take advantage of the Earth's natural coolness. But there's the geysers are just north of here, Geyserville, and it's for real. In the morning when it's cool outside and the warm steam, so you can see the big plumes, and it powers the whole city of Healdsburg. But that's a lot of warm air underground that's finding its way up.
What, it powers Healdsburg through geothermal?
Yeah.
Wow.
And yeah, so it's significant. So there's a fair amount of that. There's a lot of springs in the area. Some of those springs are warm. The water table, there's not that much water anywhere in Northern California, but the water table's pretty high. You dig down. So we decided not to excavate and do that, try that approach. Because of that, and because there's been some wineries have had problems with that, where they excavated down only to find that instead of a nice cool cellar, it was humid and warm because they'd gotten down into the warm water that's coming up.
Huh.
So we said, well, no. So how are we going to do it? And Paul came up with this idea. He said, well, what about straw bales? Straw bales, have been used in the past in various applications. But one of their, besides obviously being green and renewable, they have a very, very high insulation value. The R value is in the 40s and 50s as opposed to your typical insulation. It's 19, maybe up into the 20s. So, we sort of latched onto the idea, why not build sort of an above ground cave? So that's really what that became the driving force of the design.
Interesting.
And we moved forward with it. It was the biggest straw bale structure on record when we built it. I don't know if that's still the case. Mm-hmm. And we put the solar panels on the entire south side of the roof. That actually provides, especially on a day like today, where we're not lights, maybe a pump's running, but we're really not. During harvest we're using a lot of energy.
Sure.
This time of year, we're on a day like today, we're probably providing all of our electricity with solar, and it's that exchange sort of thing where we build up credits and then we use them. And the solar's one. It's really great. And at that time, in the early 2000s, solar was still on this side of scale wasn't really being used. That now, and it's great to see. And there's hardly a winery where every winery that starts this says, why wouldn't we do this? With the cost of electricity.
Right.
So it's really become really widespread. There's some really great arrays out there. Rodney Strong, which is down the road. God, they've got the entire roof. The thing is, it looks like a city. It's
really
an amazing system. So so that was the general. That's kind of the thought process that went on, and so we ended up with the straw bale building. There's about 3,000 bales of straw, just like you've seen growing up, that make up all the walls, and they're covered with really nothing more than in a word, adobe. They're covered with earth that was taken out of a portion of the vineyard that had a lot of clay in it, mixed with some sand, small gravel, and straw in a big auger, and then it was hand applied.
Really? Wow.
And it was quite a process, certainly.
I can imagine.
Oh, just, you've never seen so many scissor lifts in your life. Just guys up there, But it really worked out well. We've been really happy with the performance of the building, and despite its whatever you want to say, simple ingredients as far as how it's made, we're able to have all the nice bells and whistles that contribute to the quality we're looking after.
Right.
Jackets and new tanks.
Terrific.